To be on time is to be early. To be early is to be what? On time. So we'll go ahead and get started. And let me hit record and transcript, and we'll get started. Okay, so again, welcome everyone. Happy Tuesday. I'm Dr. Christian. And we want to go ahead and get started with our College Advisory Board meeting for this evening, November 7th, 2023. We want to go ahead and call the meeting to order. So, Reba, will you go ahead and call the meeting to order?
Do I say that this meeting has just been called to order at 5:05 p.m.?
That would work.
Okay. So today, on Tuesday, November 7th, this meeting has been called to order at 5:05 p.m.
Thank you for that. And we'll go ahead and follow the agenda. So, Justin, will you do the roll call, please?
Sure. So do I just say everyone's name that is here?
Yes.
Yes, Justin, you say everyone's name and their school.
Okay.
And then everyone will respond present.
Okay. Nathan Hong from Early College.
Present.
Jacob Taylor.
Present.
Moore Jordan.
Present.
Don't forget to say their names, Justin. Sorry. I mean their schools rather. Don't forget the name and school.
And where do I see the schools at? Sorry.
If you don't have the schools, then when they say present, we would just get them to say their schools. How about that?
Okay. Sorry about that. This
Yes.
is my first time doing.
That's okay. You're doing fine.
No worries. You're doing a fantastic job.
Okay. Next is Tabitha Marie Mitchell.
Present.
And your school is?
I'm the administrative assistant with Human Relations.
Oh, okay. Sorry. And Wanda Allen Ibra.
Hi, Justin. Yes, I'm Wanda Allen Abraha. I am the Director of Human Relations DEI. And I know that you have not seen me this meeting, and here I am. Just wanted you to know it's me. And so you don't have to call my name or Dr. Ronnie Christian's name or Tabitha's name. You don't have to call our three names.
Oh, okay.
So you're just going to focus on the students, your peers.
Larry Bell.
And Mr. Bell is with the city as well. He is responsible for making sure that this meeting is televised. So he's with the marketing and communications department.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Allison Lean Ketchy.
Present, Salem College.
Thank you. And I think I called everyone.
Did you call Reba?
Oh yeah, Reba. I forgot because she was the chair. Yes.
Present, and I attend Wake Forest University.
Thank you.
Awesome. Can we go back and get, we had two who are present that we don't have their school. So can we go back and get those two? I think that was Jacob Taylor and also Jordan Moore.
I attend Winston State University.
Okay, awesome.
And I also attend Winston-Salem State University.
Awesome. Thank you.
And I
Okay.
just want to add that Abigail Hawkins of Salem College emailed earlier and said she had to work, so she's requesting absence.
Okay. So she's requesting an excused absence.
Correct.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks for that. Okay. Reva, we'll go ahead and let you continue on with the agenda.
Oh,
So-
Dr. Christian, before we continue, we need to have Reva call for a vote to request approval for the excused absences. And then everyone on the college advisory board would need to vote to say aye or nay for approving the excused absences. And I know that we just heard Tabitha Mitchell-Besant say that there was one request from Abigail.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
So to vote on the approval, well, not the approval of minutes, we're gonna have a vote on the approval of the excused absence. Everybody in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, do not say aye.
What we're gonna have to do, sorry, Reva, is
Okay.
when we're virtual like this, you all have to do what's called a roll call vote. And what that means is we have to do it person by person. So you would just call on each person by name, and then they would say yay or nay, and we can do it that way. And don't forget to, vote yourself as well.
All right, so let me redo that. Thank you, Miss
You're welcome.
Alan Abraha, correct?
You're welcome.
Thank you. Right now, we're just going to cast a vote on the approval of the excused absence. So I'm going to start the vote off myself, Reva Cordes, with saying aye, because I am in approval of the absence. Then I'm going to vote to Jordan Moore.
Okay, so, but let's pause there. What you're going to do is say, may I have a motion to
Okay.
accept the approved absences? And
Okay.
then someone will say, I make a motion to approve the excused absences. And then you say, do we have a second? And then someone would say second. And then we do, the roll call vote. Sorry, I should have been more detailed.
Okay. Okay, so may I have a motion to accept the excused absence?
I'd like to make the motion to excuse excuse the absences.
And then do I have a second?
I second the motion.
Okay. Everybody in favor of the motion to excuse the absence? Correct.
You have to call on everybody one by one.
Okay. Okay. So Jordan Moore, are you in favor to accept the excused absence?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Justin Velasquez, are you in favor to accept the excused absence?
Yes. Aye.
Jacob Taylor, are you in favor to accept the excused absence?
Aye.
I, Reva Cordes, I am in favor to accept the excused absence. And then Allison, please correct me if I say your name wrong, Lean Ketchy, are you in favor to accept the excused absence?
Aye.
And then Nathan Hong, are you in favor to accept the excused absence?
Aye.
Okay, great. And then do I ask Dr. Christian and Tabitha, or you? No?
No, I think you skipped Jordan though.
No, Jordan was first.
Oh, was Jordan first? I missed Jordan. Sorry, Jordan. No, it's just everyone on the board. And once you have the motion and the second, and you get, and you have that part done, all you have to do is call each person's name, and they're either going to say aye or nay. And so I don't want you going through having to ask every single person, the question. You don't have to. Once it's out there, they just say aye, or nay, or whatever, once you call their name.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good job. So now we got to the point where everybody voted and everybody said aye. And now you ask, were there any nays? Just for safe measure, you ask, were there any nays?
Are there any nays?
Okay, and now you say the ayes have it unanimously,
The ayes
and the
have
motion passes.
and the motion passes.
There you go. Good job. Good
Thank
job.
you.
You're welcome.
So now that the motion has passed, our next topic on the agenda is the approval of minutes. So unanimous consent is required. So all of those in favor of, how do I go about that as well?
You need the same process over and over again. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes? And then do we have a second? And then you do the roll call vote.
Okay.
And you just go person by person, and they either say aye or nay.
Okay. So now I'm going to ask, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
I second that motion.
Okay. All of those in favor say aye, and all of those not in favor say nay. Okay.
Roll call, remember?
Okay, yes. Okay.
One by one.
Okay. Nathan Huang.
Aye.
I re-record this vote aye. Jordan Moore.
Aye.
Allison Lean Ketchy.
Aye.
Justine Velasquez.
Aye.
And Jacob Taylor.
Aye.
And then what did you say I say at the end?
You can ask if there are any nays,
Yes.
just to
Are
make
there
sure you
any?
didn't miss anybody. Yeah.
Okay. Are there any nays just in case I missed anyone? And then the ayes have it unanimously.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Next up on our agenda, we have our general business, which will consist of our committee reports, old business, and new business. Is that me, or is that you, Dr. Christian?
For the committee reports, do we have any standing committee reports from our previous meeting or from last year?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so we'll move forward with the old business. And of course, the old business, we need to discuss the annual project.
And Dr. Christian, that is correct. But one thing, we need to pause on committee reports because even though the individual committees may not have anything to report out, I think you had some reminders, correct, with respect to government affairs, with respect to public relations. I think you had a couple of reminders that we had discussed.
Actually, I was going to discuss that information under the new business.
Oh, they go under committee reports.
Okay.
So
we'll go ahead and under the committee reports, we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about the fall newsletter. And we will also discuss the upcoming city council meetings in which CAB members are asked to attend one per semester. So we'll talk about that. And so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the fall newsletter.
yes, and Dr. Christian, that falls under public relations, the Public Relations Committee. And then the other item you mentioned for the meeting, the city council meeting, that falls under government affairs, in case we have those folks representing the committees on the call, if they want to chime in or say something.
But do we have anyone who are actually a part of those committees, public relations and government affairs?
Did we set those committees up last meeting? If so, I
No.
wasn't here for that.
No, we did not.
Okay.
So that's something that we will have to revisit.
And Dr. Christian, perhaps if people know that they have an interest in those committees, this would be a good time also for them to go ahead and join. And of course, Government Affairs is the committee that is responsible for being the liaison between the College Advisory Board and the City Council and Mayor. And so what that means is this committee is responsible for identifying a date during this semester and a date during the spring semester to attend a city council meeting as a group. They would be the lead. They would make sure that everyone was aware of the date and make sure people are there representing CAB. And of course, at the city council meetings, they go usually in partnership with the Youth Advisory Council, your sister board, which of course is comprised of high school students. So usually YAC and CAB go together. And so again, just the date for the fall, we already know the next meeting date is November 20th. But that's what you would focus on, is working on that. And then for public relations, it's the same deal in terms of the newsletter. Like Dr. Christian mentioned, public relations focuses on making sure that the newsletter comes together. You have 2 per year, one in the fall, one in the spring. And so you would make sure that there are articles in the newsletter, maybe things that CAB has attended as a group, or maybe individual members of CAB have done something on campus, whatever, that would be for that committee to pull together to lay out and have the content for the newsletter for each semester. And then the third committee is, of course, community relations. And the community relations committee is responsible for working on your annual project, which I think you all will touch on a little bit later. But each year CAB has an annual project to complete before the school year is over. So that's an overview, just, so you all will know what you're volunteering for. But I didn't go into great detail, but just wanted to give you an idea.
So I have a question. I would be interested in the Government Affairs Committee, but unfortunately that November 20th date is right in the middle of Thanksgiving break, so I'll be out of town. Is that going to be a conflict? So would I not be able to be in that position?
Absolutely not. No, you could still be on that committee, no problem. November the 20th is, like I said, that's the date of the next city council meeting. And of course, there are other meetings in December as well. But I was thinking about November 20th because I was concerned about you all's final exams, but totally up to the committee to work that out. But that is just the next date of the city council's meeting. So it would be totally up to you all to decide which Monday you'd want to go, because they meet on the first and third Mondays of each month. But no, Allison, that would not preclude you at all.
Okay.
I also have a question. Do you know what time the city council meeting is on the 20th?
Yes, they meet, and Mr. Bell, are you still on? Can you hear us? Mr. Bell? Okay, he might not be able to hear us, but to my knowledge, the meetings are at 7 o'clock still. And so I'm going to say that for now, and I will circle back with you before the meeting is over. But we've had a change internally. We have a new city manager that just started this week. So I'm just wanting to make sure I'm giving you accurate information. Yes. 6 o'clock, sorry, 6 o'clock. And that has not changed. I said 7, didn't I? 6 o'clock. Thank you, Mr. Bell. So were there any other questions before our chair continues on with the meeting?
I would just also like to state, it's not a question, it's just a statement that I would also like to be part of the Government Affairs Committee. So,
Awesome. Thank you, Jordan. So we have Jordan and Allison. And for everyone else, don't forget, we still have 2 other committees as well, Community Relations, and we have the Public Relations Committee. So if anybody's good at writing or interested in writing and good at newsletters and things like that, could really use you on that committee. And then, of course, really, we say community relations is going to lead on the annual project, but all of you will be involved with the annual project. It's just that committee will be the lead on it.
I would like to do the public relations.
Awesome. Nathan, that was you, correct?
Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
Great. Okay. Awesome. Anyone interested in community relations?
I would like to be on the Community Relations Committee.
Awesome. Okay, thank you.
No problem.
So it would be good to have a couple of people who'd be willing to join. You can be on more than one committee, by the way, if you want as well. But Reva and Nathan need someone on committees with them. So if you have not selected a committee yet, they could use some help.
I would also like to insert myself into the Governmental Affairs Committee as well.
Okay, great. Thank you. I think someone else was speaking.
Oh yeah, I was going to say I'd like to join the Government Affairs and Community.
Thank you, Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
Government Affairs and Community. Okay, got you. Okay. Is that everyone?
I would also like to join the Public Relations.
Okay, thank you, Justin. Public Relations. Thank you. Okay. All right. And for you all, also, before we move on, do you all have a secretary designated yet? I do not remember.
Yes, that would be Justin.
Okay, Justin. So if you need to circle back to capture any of the motions or who's on what committee, please make sure you let us know that, okay? Because I know you're responsible for doing the minutes, but we want to make sure that you have what you need in terms of capturing all the information, because the motions and who's assigned to what committee, those would be things we definitely want to have in the minutes. So if you need any of that, just make sure you circle back with us. Good thing is the meeting is being recorded.
Okay, will that meeting be sent out to me at the end of the
Tabitha, would you want to address that?
Yes, I was gonna say I was gonna work with him with the template, as well as I'm taking notes as we go as well. But there is a transcript that's being recorded as well as the video, so we could go back. I can send you that, and we'll put our notes together, and we can follow up after.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Okay, Madam Chair, sorry about that. You're on mute. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So that was committee reports, but we didn't have really any reports. We've assigned individuals to each committee. So next up on our agenda would be old business.
And Madam Chair, I think Dr. Christian might have had some things to say that pertain to the committees.
Okay. Dr. Christian, would you like to add in what you were going to say regarding the committees and like the individual reports?
So yes, thank you. So with the committee report, we wanted to again rehash and look at the project. We wanted to look at the public relations. On the public relations, we wanted to talk about the fall newsletter and come up with a timeline as to implementation of that, getting that done for the fall, and what that will encompass. As Mrs. Wanda Allen Abraham mentioned, we do want to look at that newsletter and build that up. And we are just admitted Jeremiah as well. And so take a look at the newsletter and see if we can go ahead and formulate that. We want to look at things like, again, if there is something that you guys have been involved in on your campus that is newsworthy, that could be added to the newsletter. Want to look at that. Also, if any of you guys attended the International Village that was held a few weeks ago, that was sponsored by our department, the Human Relations DEI department, we could add that information in there. And then also, Reba, as the chair, want to definitely have an article in there where you introduce yourself as the chair. So those are just some key areas that we want to focus. Any thoughts about that information?
Hello, sorry, I joined late. Did you say that we're working on the newsletter now?
Yes, hi, Jeremiah. Happy Tuesday. Yes, we are talking about the fall newsletter and what we want to, or what you guys want to ensure that you have included in it. You have any ideas?
Well, I know that you mentioned if anybody was a part of the International Village event, that could be something. I actually volunteer there with the city council, so I could write something about that experience, and also
Awesome.
use media, like photos that was taken at the event that you guys have.
Perfect. That sounds great. So we will have that from you. We will also have the intro of herself from Reva and a nice little picture. Okay. And then what else? Anything else that you guys will want to add? Anything that you guys have been involved in on your campus that may be newsworthy?
I have another thing, if I could share it.
Sure.
Recently I also volunteered at, I believe it was a fall festival, but it was also like a Hispanic heritage themed festival. And so I have a lot of photos with that, so I could also contribute by sharing that experience as well.
Okay, that'd be perfect.
I'm not sure if this counts, but Salem recently partnered with the Reach Women's Network. And so I'm part of that partnership. And in turn, all of the people in part of my scholarship partnered with really like prominent members of the Winston-Salem community so that they're now mentors to individual students.
Okay.
And so that's like helped a lot of students with like motivation and connections and networking. So would that be something that we want to put on the newsletter?
I think that very well could be as well, Allison.
I also volunteer with the program, the Office of Sustainability on campus, where we mentor and teach youth in the foster care system about like financial literacy. So 2 weeks ago, we did the importance of like opening your credit card and the importance of maintaining good credit. And tomorrow or Thursday, we're doing the importance of selecting the correct checking account and just managing your money and your expenses correctly.
Nice.
Very important.
Yes, we could use that. They could use that as well. Perfect. And so we definitely want to, as far as timeline, of course, we want to ensure that we can get this all put together. Of course, this is the 1st of November. and we want to really grind this out and see if we can pull this together by the end of the month. Thoughts?
The end of the month is possible. Definitely possible.
Awesome.
I know you guys can do it.
Yes.
Would you like me to grade it, because I have the template from last year?
That would be great. So if you guys can coordinate, pull your information together, shoot that over to Nathan. And of course he can put it in the format, and then we could make it a newsletter. So what will be your timeline for getting your information to Nathan? How quickly can you do that?
I can get my information to him by the end of this week.
Oh, okay.
But one question I had was, can everybody drop their emails? Because I don't think we have like each other's contact information. Can everybody drop their emails in the chat just so we can get a hold of one another?
Great.
I've created a spreadsheet. I can send that to everyone. But I
Right.
guess I need approval at this time because it does have email and phone number. I'm not sure if everybody, want to share that information, or should I just cut it to emails?
I think email and phone number is fine personally, as long as we establish like boundaries, like don't text at like midnight about something,
Okay, so all in favor of email and phone?
Well, Tabitha, what's going to happen at this point in time is to have that vote. Reva's going to have to ask if there's a motion.
Okay.
And then she'll have to go through that whole process again.
Okay, so motion to release email and phone number to everybody on the campus advisory board.
I second the motion.
Do I have a second?
So we need someone to make the motion, and then somebody else can second it.
Yeah.
I second the motion.
I'd like.
Oh,
We got to have somebody to make it first, Justin. Somebody has to say, I move, or I make a motion. They have to say that, and then the person will say second.
I'd like to make a motion for phone numbers and emails to be disclosed to each other.
do we have a second?
I second the motion.
Okay. Nathan Huang,
Yay.
Allison Lean Ketchy,
Hey.
Jordan Moore,
Aye.
Jacob Taylor,
Aye.
Justine Velasquez,
Aye.
and Jeremiah.
Aye.
The ayes win unanimously. Is that what I'm supposed to say?
You can ask, are there any nays?
Are there any nays, to make sure that I've gotten everyone's response?
And now you can say the ayes have it. The motion carries unanimously. Whatever.
The motion carries unanimously. The ayes have it.
Great. And one other thing, Madam Chair, while you all are doing this, now that you have a quorum, you all need to officially vote to approve the officers. So we need someone to state who the officers are and what positions they hold. You all need to vote on that today, since you do have a quorum, which is awesome.
I am going to state, according to our last meeting's minutes, who holds what role now that everybody is here. So Jeremiah Washington is our historian. Justine Velasquez is our secretary. Reva Cordes is our chair. Nathan Huang is our vice chair.
So now are you going to call for a motion to
Okay.
approve those officers?
So now I will call for a motion to approve the officers that have been selected.
I'd like to introduce a motion to approve the selected officers.
Do I have a second?
I second that motion.
Jordan Moore,
Aye.
Jeremiah Washington,
Aye.
Allison Lean Ketchy,
Aye.
Nathan Huang,
Aye.
Jacob Taylor,
Aye.
Justine Velasquez.
Aye.
So the motion will move forward. The ayes take it unanimously. Okay, do I move on to the old business? Okay. So now that we've reviewed the committee report, actually, Dr. Christian, were you done stating everything you had to state about the newsletter and the committees?
But just one additional thing with the newsletter information, we wanted to solidify a time frame to get the information to Nathan.
Okay.
So, the 1 week work for everyone. So today is the 7th of November. Is it feasible for everyone to have their articles written and submitted to Nathan by the 13th, 14th of next week?
Yes.
So I guess you guys want to take a vote on that as well, make a motion.
Motion to have our articles submitted by the 14th of next week, which would be next week, Tuesday.
I propose the motion to have the articles submitted by next week.
Does anybody second that?
I second that
I
motion.
motion.
Okay. Jacob Taylor,
Aye.
Nathan Huang,
Aye.
Jeremiah Washington,
Aye.
Allison Lean Ketchy,
Aye.
Jordan Moore,
Aye.
Justine Velasquez.
Aye.
So the motion to have our articles submitted by next week, Tuesday, is everybody's in favor of that motion, and the ayes take it unanimously.
Awesome.
With completion of that, the next topic up on our general business would be our old business. So this is what we covered our last meeting, if I'm correct.
Correct.
We were all told to just brainstorm an idea, like 2 short paragraphs on what we think our project could be for the year in regards to food security, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I think that everyone was going to formulate a paragraph or 2 about the annual project.
Okay.
And then tonight, take an opportunity to share their proposal and discuss and determine as a board in which direction you guys wanted to go.
Okay. Would anyone like to share their proposal first?
I can go first.
Okay.
My proposal for addressing food insecurity within our city is through through further research into the use of underutilized orphan crops. So underutilized orphan crops are a type of crop that's not commonly grown or used by farmers because of the lack of appeal economically and it's just not really popular. And so I think we should do more research into it because for its benefits with nutrition and the costs to cultivate these crops. Yeah.
I will share my proposals next, unless Dr. Christian, were you going to say something?
I was going to say at this point, we would want to ask if there are any questions from anyone regarding Nathan's proposal.
Does anyone have any questions regarding the proposal?
I do have a question. So with the research, how did you kind of think about doing that research? Were you mainly focusing on like food insecurity for college students or just in general, or kind of what was the direction you were going with that?
Yeah, I was thinking specifically with college students because when I was doing a competition for like a research competition on this, it was like think of a way to or propose a way to do or to solve food insecurity within your city. It was that type of challenge, and I just wanted to do like further like research into that. And so yeah.
So to continue on the idea of food insecurity, my proposal was focused on Winston-Salem. I called it the Winston-Salem Food for Thought, or Winston-Salem on Wheels. It'd be a biweekly food distribution package event where families, college students, or people just in need of access to food are able to come, and we distribute food to the community. As Nathan mentioned, doing research, I noticed that there are either two sides of Winston where there's generational wealth, people don't really need that access to food, or there's lack of access to food predominantly in minority communities and in communities where the wealth margins aren't really the highest. So it'll just place emphasis on providing like bag lunches, canned goods, and fruits to families in need. Again, it'll be bi-weekly, and then the location, I'd have to do further research into which zip codes are heavily in food deserts, just to tend to those zip codes, of course, first, and then work our way around Winston-Salem. But each week we'd set a goal to have a certain amount of bag lunches or canned goods distributed, and then based on the goal we set before, we'd aim to distribute more than the previous time we've distributed food. Jordan?
So what's your idea? Are you saying that we will like have a place for people to come and get food?
Yes.
Oh, I do have a slight concern with that because I know in most communities where they're experiencing food insecurities, transportation is an issue, even with public transportation and whatnot. So I was wondering how it would be accessible to the people that we want to target if we were to set a location, rather than maybe setting up something where we could do deliveries.
So that's why it was kind of called like Winston on Wheels as well, or the food for thought. So essentially it is a food distribution package event, but as I said before, I do need to do, because I'm not from Winston-Salem, so I do need to do further research on which communities need the most help first. And then we go to them because of that, and accessibility to public transportation and transportation just in general.
Okay. I do like that idea. I think I can aid with that because I'm from Winston.
Okay. I love that. Thank you. Does anybody else want to speak on their proposal?
I can my proposal. Oh, sorry, Jacob. Do you want to go first?
No, it's all good. You can go first, and then I'll go after you. So yeah.
So I wasn't here last week, so I'm just going to tell you, it's a project that I did last semester about food insecurity in college students. So I did research on this. And my idea is donating meal swipes that students don't use. So I know especially at Salem, since these meal swipes are already allocated in the food budget to use a certain amount a week, but not all students eat here and not all students use them. So some campuses nationwide have created a meal swipe donation program where they can use like a website, a mobile app, or like a physical location so that these unused meal swipes can go towards students who may not have a meal plan or may not be able to, like, past this 7 meal swipes a week, afford other meals. So like collection and distribution of these like meal swipes and plans, and then like obviously monitoring the program and creating effective adjustments. But you would have to talk to the campus dining services and student government associations for the each campus to kind of figure out the legality of it. But basically it's donating these unused meal swipes that students aren't using because they expire weekly or semesterly depending on your college. And then that way students who are food insecure on college campuses have access to food.
I love that idea. I feel like it's a really good idea, and it is a real issue that a lot of students struggle with, but because we're students, a lot of people don't really acknowledge it. But thank you for that, Allison.
Well, like her, I wasn't here last meeting, and there's a couple things I'm sure of. Like, I'm not sure what our target audience is and all this stuff, but I think that was a very good idea. And assuming that our target audience is college students, I was thinking that I know in a previous year, I'm not sure if it's last year or like before that, there was like there was something we did that was about the quality of food, right? So I'm pretty sure there was the thing where Winston-Salem State had some of their swipes donated to like not even donated, it was accessible for like farmers markets and things like that. So I was wondering if we could maybe expand on that, maybe get Salem College in on it, maybe Wake Forest. I don't know how doable that is, but I do think it's an idea. So
Dr. Christian, I think you should elaborate on that one because that was that's us. We helped with that survey.
And actually, I will help out here, Dr. Christian, because it was before his time as well, Ms. Tabitha. So, Jacob, yes, you're absolutely correct. The swipes, as you all call them, I'm learning that tonight, is definitely something that the College Advisory Board was a part of in working with the city to make sure that fresh food was accessible to all students. And it really came about during COVID and the lockdown and all of that. And so what happened is the city's farmers market agreed to work with Winston-Salem State University so that students could use their RAM card to purchase fresh food at the market. And so, yes, that is something that can be explored in terms of seeing if perhaps other colleges and universities would be interested in doing the same, but it would be a matter of you all as representatives of your colleges and universities on the College Advisory Board to go back and speak with your administration at your respective schools about whether or not they would be interested in joining that. Because again, Winston-Salem State was the lead on that for the local colleges and universities. And so that was approved by their administration. So if you think that your school's administration would be interested, yeah, that would be a way, Jacob, for it to be expanded for the other schools, to do what Winston-Salem State did.
thank you.
You're welcome. Madam Chair, I think it's back to you unless Dr. Christian had other things to add.
No, I don't have anything additional to add.
Okay, so with the presentation of everybody's proposals, it sounds like we're all in agreement that the focus of our project should be food insecurity in Winston-Salem. So are we leaning more towards food insecurity with college students, or are we trying to tackle the issue from the Winston-Salem perspective or position?
I think for now it would be a good idea to target college students, and then maybe somewhere in the future we can build on what we like work on now, and expand that to Winston-Salem.
I agree. So next on our
We're gonna take a motion.
huh?
You want to make a motion?
Yes. Motion. So I do like the idea, and this is just speaking of myself, I would of course ask anybody else, but I do like the idea of each representative reaching out to their administrators on campus to ask about the idea that Jacob put forward. So motion in favor to have the idea brought to administration on each campus.
Before we do that, so Jacob, could you kind of restate your idea a little bit so that we can kind of have it in a different words? Because I don't think I really understood exactly what you were trying to say.
Okay, my apologies. So I'll try again. So previously, there was a college advisory council team that put together this idea where typically at colleges, there's like cards. So you have swipes, then there's like a certain amount of arranged cash that you have on your cards. So rather than spending it at school, I think what Miss Allen Aberha was saying is that they partnered with the city's farmers market, and then they were able to use those swipes rather than going to I don't know, Chick-fil-A or whatever you guys have at your schools. There was an option to go to the farmers market, which is a healthier option.
Okay, I know it's Salem. I'm not sure how other schools currently do this. We have once a month, they have like a farmer's market brought to us where they bring like fresh fruits and vegetables, and we can choose to use a meal swipe or point at the specific like thing in the cafeteria so that we can get that fresh food and vegetables, but still dining services profit there. So I think that that could also be something, if we brought to administration, could talk about as well. Like if they still want to make profit, like they can bring the food to them, if that makes sense.
Allison, can you restate that just to make sure I have like a good understanding? So you said that once a month on Salem's campus, the farmers market basically comes like to campus, and you have the choice to use your meal swipes or the dining bucks that are on the card. And then you said what would be the other option?
The administration brings brings our dining services we have through Harvest Table. And so once a month Harvest Table brings fresh fruit and vegetables that we can use our meal swipes or our like points, like our money or like whatever's on our card, to do that. So I was saying like, because I know like personally Salem administration would not be in favor of outsourcing the production to another farmer's market. So my idea was like bringing both options towards the different college administrations. So that way they can choose like, hey, this is an issue, not having accessibility to fresh food. This college gives points that they can use in the city's farmers market, or this college brings fresh fruits and vegetables that the students can buy on campus. Does that make a little bit more sense?
So Allison, you're just saying you want to make sure that that at your school, for instance, the existing program with the farmers market would coexist perhaps with what we are talking about from the city's farmers market. Is that
Yes,
what you're saying? Okay.
Yes.
And so one other consideration I wanted to mention, I know that y'all touched on how oftentimes transportation is an issue. And so do you think your administrations might be amenable to maybe providing transportation, say once per whatever? I don't know how often it would be, to the city's farmers market or to some other destination that may be able to provide accessibility to get the food that way? Do you think that's possible? Or do you think it would be more practical and expedient just to do it the way you're describing? I don't know what you all are seeing and what you're aware of on your respective campuses.
Yeah, so at Salem, they bring the food to us, but also it's a 3-minute walk to Cobblestone Farmers Market, which is right on the corner. So possibly a partnership with them, but that's an individual business rather than a city farmers market. I don't think they would be as willing to, if you get what I'm saying. But
Okay,
I don't think that buy transportation to the city's farmers market if the Cobblestone one's only a 3-minute walk.
I understand that. Okay.
I am new to Wake Forest, so I would have to ask around to ask if that'd even be possible. But Wake's motto is Pro Humanitate, so I'm pretty sure if I ask the right people and get in the right spaces, then it'll probably be approved to get them to the farmers market.
Okay. So where do you all want to leave this today? I mean, how do you want to leave it? Is there, you just want to leave it as something that you all need to follow up on and report back to each other at the next meeting? Or do you still have outstanding questions so that you're kind of still feeling iffy and not quite clear on what you're trying to do vision-wise? Where are you right now, and where do you want to leave it right now?
So right now, I feel like we're kind of still in the ideation phase of bringing up that idea. And I also wanted to add in that we don't have a farmer's market on campus, but there are places that we can get fresh food and vegetables and fruits on campus. So I don't know how that probably would have an impact on the administration's decision to get them transported to a farmer's market, as they of course argue that there's already that access to fresh food here.
So my question is, if so I know Salem has that thing where they bring fresh fruits once a month, and then I know Wake now has it, and Winston-Salem State has a partnership too. So should that be a focus that we have, that we do our project on, or should we keep brainstorming different ideas, or more on the other plans that we proposed, so that way it's more beneficial to multiple schools rather than just the couple that don't have it anymore?
Okay, sorry, Dr. Christian, go ahead.
Yes, I think that's something that you guys want to discuss and decide as a group.
Yes, Dr. Christian, I agree. It would be good to hear more of you chiming in with your thoughts. Is it clear to you? Is it not? If so, you can say that. Do you have concerns, questions?
I see Jeremiah has his hand up. I'll let him speak first.
Well, I know I did join a bit late, but I was kind of under the impression that, we didn't really have a topic in mind. I hate to kind of go back after we were just talking about food insecurity, but something that really resonated with me from the last meeting was what Reva said about kind of community. And I've been thinking about that a lot more. And I know just from what I've noticed recently, a lot of students have trouble just kind of connecting to resources. And I know there's a lot of things that personally I don't know about other campuses. And so just kind of, I wanted that to be part of the project as well. And I think if we do food insecurity, I would want to make sure that people would actually know about what we're doing and actually show up, because even from doing other annual projects with YAC, and we had events and we put in a lot of work and did things, at the end of the day, we couldn't really get people to come. So I just kind of have a bit of concern with the project.
I agree, and I'd like to add on to that, Jeremiah. I feel like the involvement in the project just would really, it's really going to go off of like people seeing that, like, we can have the vision, but it's really going to go off of like people seeing the importance of what we're doing. So like, for example, as I mentioned, like with a lot of weeks for students already having that access to farmers market food and like fresh fruit and vegetables, the likelihood of them being involved in this is of course possible. It is of course possible, but will they see the importance of it if it's already accessible to them on their campus? Will they feel the need to show up for it if that's not really something that they struggle with? So just keeping that in mind, like the project, not to like discredit anybody's ideas, because I actually love like the idea of that, but the project has to be centered on, or should be centered on, to get the highest levels of interaction and engagement from all of the schools. It should be focused on something that each school's campus is like currently struggling with. Like, what is something that we've noticed on each of our campuses that is a common theme?
Oh, sorry, Jordan, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I do think that we need more time to maybe just think about what we want to do. But I did have a couple quick questions. The first one was, is this like food insecurities? Is that something that we agreed upon last meeting? I was absent from that meeting, so I wasn't sure about that. It's something, because I was wondering if maybe, I'm not trying to change like the topic of our project. I was just wondering, because we're doing this for college students, if we could maybe create like a form with like main issues that college students are experiencing and send that out so that we can get more input on what to do, because food insecurity is a big issue right now. But I know Winston State has been making like efforts to kind of improve that, and some other colleges have. So like you guys are saying, students might not see how big that issue is, but I do know that there are other issues like promoting safe sex, or warning against drug and alcohol abuse and campus safety that we could be focusing on as well. So I was wondering if maybe we could send out like a survey, like, hey, what do you guys need from us, because we are advocates for you. Just my input.
I agree. That is beautiful. I agree.
I agree that it would be really nice to get student input, but my concern would be institutional review boards and getting the approval for that. Because if you're asking college student questions through an organization or like through a class or anything, you have to get it approved through an institutional review board. And I know Salem's is really difficult to get through. I'm not sure if y'all know how that works on your campus or other organizations, but I know like it's a lot to get it approved through Salem and through the like high school I was in for that. Like institutional review boards are really hard to get through. So like I think we'd have to go around it a different way rather than a survey.
I understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, us serving on this board, we're advocates for the students, and we serve as a liaison between, the government and also the administration at our school and the students. So I think if we explain that to the administration, that we're here to represent them, and that this is issues within the city that most college universities are experiencing, they will understand that. But Yeah, I don't think it would be a big issue, maybe, even if it wasn't just a survey and it was something that we put up on a website per se that has, and we make it clear that this is not, you know, a product of the university itself, but something that we're doing as a advocacy group.
Yeah, I like it. I like phrasing it like that. Like, this is not through the university. This is what we are doing as the college advisory board to figure out what some issues are, because I feel like if we did it through the universities or send it out through the colleges, that's where we run into like legality issues and review boards.
Yeah, but it will also be the same thing if we were to go and ask them to partner with, you know, the people who provide the fresh fruit for Salem. So I feel like it's the same route. We're just kind of tweaking it to benefit the students.
And I think like we really can like develop this more, especially with the help of Ms. Abraham and other staff members from City Council to kind of help us with how we go about doing that. So I think it's a really good thing to consider initially having something for us to collect that data and then going about like the eventual project or however we're gonna tackle this.
I agree.
And to your point, Allison, when the College Advisory Board was working on food and housing insecurity a couple of years ago, yes, before we did that, we did a survey. And we did go through the very process that you're speaking of with the review boards. And wow, yeah, it was quite a process. And so if there is a way not to, I mean, we got approvals, but it just took a while. And if you all are wanting to do this during this school year, I agree that is going to be quite time consuming. And so I don't know how open and amenable your campuses would be to working with you to creatively get this information. I don't know how that would work. But again, we would be leaning on your connections and relationships with your administrators, your professors, and whomever to find a way to potentially do that would not trigger the need for the review board process, perhaps. But otherwise, yeah, I just encourage you to look at this as something that you can implement potentially in the spring. And you all use this time frame to do your brainstorming and your planning and doing what you're doing today, which is great, because it's going to take you all to kind of be on the same page and understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish. And from what I'm hearing, you're trying to reach other college students to make sure you're addressing any food insecurity issues they may have. And it's good that you've narrowed your scope, I think, because the Winston-Salem community, of course, is huge. We're talking 250,000 people. But when you're talking about colleges, it does narrow it somewhat, but still that's a lot of people when you look at all of the campuses combined. And so I think you give it some more thought, you continue to brainstorm, you continue to communicate, and hopefully by the spring, you'll have something that's implementable and that you can have done before May, because you know some of you may be graduating, you have finals and all of that. So just look at it that way. But in the meantime, oh, Allison, were you getting ready to say something?
Yeah, I was going to ask, did we narrow it down to food insecurity? Because I thought that, like, what we were talking about is a way to figure out what concerns the college students the most.
Okay, so you didn't narrow it down necessarily.
No, like, I know we still want to do, like college students, but I know, like, Reva brought up an excellent point about, like, it's not necessarily a problem that every college on this advisory board deals with, like every student in every college. So, and then Jordan brought up a wonderful point about like safe sex and drugs and alcohol abuse. And so like, those are some other options we want to look at, which is why they were talking about the survey. But I think if we found a way to like maybe partner with clubs that your campus may have, like I know that my campus has a Students Reproductive Freedom Club, and like comparing how much, like how often students go to the like safe sex talks versus the alcohol talks versus that, like kind of finding what participation and what makes most sense to students is like a way that I could personally get around Salem's institutional review board.
Okay, and Allison, just in listening to what you just stated, if you all are talking about various topics, hot topics, important topics to you and your peers, perhaps you all would consider a forum series. Perhaps instead of just trying to narrow it down to one topic, you could hit on multiple topics. And perhaps what you could do with those multiple topics is to partner with some of the community organizations that are out there who work in those specific areas. You know, there are organizations that work specifically with the sexual issues you mentioned. They work specifically with food insecurity. They focus specifically on all of the things that you mentioned, and perhaps that is a way to do that and just bring maybe that series to different campuses or to one central location that is not on a campus. I don't know how that looks, but you know, that would be a way for you all to hit multiple things at one time if you all feel strongly about those topics and it's hard for you to narrow it down to just one. But just think of that and consider that as something that you could do as well, because there's a lot to be said about that, particularly if you are partnering with community organizations. And that doesn't mean you can't partner with, like you said, clubs and organizations on campus, but perhaps there would be organizations out in the community who could help really, you know, bring the word to the audience that you're trying to bring to talk about that particular issue. Just a thought.
Yeah.
I agree. So what do we see? Thank you, Ms. Abraham, for that. For like laying it all out, because I do think that if we do the survey, we are going to get a variety of responses, and it probably will most likely be certain topics that like they place heavy emphasis on. So I do agree about the forum series. I do think that'd be a good idea, as opposed to just like, okay, we got responses for this, but we're not going to tackle this. We're just going to ignore this. So the forum series is a good idea. But how do we want to go about this? Do we want to have like our survey created by next week, Tuesday? Do we want to let this sit so that we can create questions to put on the survey? What do you guys think the next step should be?
So I think the next step is talking to administrations about the IRB and how to avoid the IRB. Because like Ms. Abraham said, it's going to be difficult if we encounter that IRB to get anything done. Because like even in Salem, like our classes specifically say do not ask students any questions because of that IRB and how strong it is and legality issues. So like every institution has an IRB, it's not just Salem. So like I think by next week we should have that conversation with the administration of what does it look like if we did this, could it go around it, or are we going to encounter it regardless?
I agree.
So Allison, you're saying you all need to just go back to your respective administrations. That's what your recommendation is, and do that by next week so you know what direction you need to take.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, Madam Chair, thoughts?
I agree, because we do want to avoid that at all costs. I know I do not need that trouble on Wake Forest campus. So I definitely agree, but I am going to present the motion to have everybody check in with their IRBs and administrators to make sure that, or not make sure, but see if there are ways to go around that process. And if there are not, possibly inquiring about like how long the process will take if there are no ways to avoid it.
I would like to propose a motion for everyone to talk to other IRBs and see about the process.
I second that motion.
Justine Velasquez,
Aye.
Jeremiah Washington,
Aye.
Jordan Moore,
Aye.
Nathan Huang,
Aye.
Allison Lean Ketchy,
Aye.
and I re-record this vote aye. The ayes have approved this motion. The motion will move forward, and we have taken it unanimously. So,
Madam Chair, you all probably do need to have some bullet points, talking points, so that you're all communicating the same message.
okay.
Because you may ask one way and Allison may ask another, and Nathan and Jordan and Jeremiah and Jacob, all of you, Justin, you all may have various ways of asking the same thing, but you want to make sure you're asking for the same thing from your respective universities and colleges. And so would someone like to take on the task of drafting exactly what it is that you're asking for?
I can do it.
Great.
And I can assist that if you need it, Reva.
Of course. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So next on the agenda is the December minutes, December meeting schedule.
You repeat that for me, Dr. Christian. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, so the next on the agenda is the December meeting schedule.
For our December meeting, so do I just go over like the deliverables we should have by the next meeting? What's expected of us by the next meeting?
Well, here we're talking about, December is holiday season, so we want to ensure that you guys can decide on when you want to meet in December, that type of thing.
So for me personally, the second Tuesday in December would be the 12th, correct?
Yes.
Yes. That day is okay with me, but I will say, is that day okay with everybody else that's currently on the call?
I'm okay with it.
That day is during my finals week. I could avoid it, but is there any way we could move it to the 5th?
That day is during my finals week.
Okay, then the 12th works for me.
I will not be able to attend that meeting, but I think I'll be able to follow from the minutes from that.
I can attend that meeting December 12th. No, that day is fine with me.
For me,
Sorry, go ahead, Jeremiah.
that day works for me.
So you're gonna take a motion?
Yes. Motion presenting
Did
the
we
motion.
hear from everyone? I'm sorry, did we hear from everyone?
Oh, we did not hear from Jacob.
Did we hear from Nathan?
What's the prompt? I missed it.
Yeah, I said I was okay with it.
Okay.
Jacob, we were just asking if December 12th was a good day to meet again for you.
Okay, so this is like a roll call vote. If that's the case, then aye.
No, we ain't started yet. We were just asking.
Okay. Yeah, that works for me.
Okay, I'm going to present the motion now. Presenting the motion to have our next meeting on Tuesday, December 12th.
I'd like to propose the motion to have the next meeting on Tuesday, December 12th.
Does anybody second this motion?
I
I second that motion.
Jacob Taylor,
Aye.
Jordan Moore,
Aye.
Justine Velasquez,
Aye.
Allison Lean Ketchy,
Aye.
Jeremiah Washington,
Aye.
and Nathan Huang. The ayes have approved this motion, and the motion will move forward. Okay, so next meeting.
Oh, you're on mute.
So our next meeting will officially be on Tuesday, December 12th. And I also want to ask Jordan, is there like an academic reason why you can't attend? Because we can accommodate you if there's a specific reason, or is it just you're not going to be in town? You don't have to share the reason at all if it's personal.
It's not an academic reason, but it is a personal reason I won't be able to be.
Okay. All right, that's fine. So our next official meeting will be Tuesday, December 12th, 2023 at 5 p.m. Next up on the agenda, we have our upcoming events. I don't have any prior knowledge about any events that are upcoming, unless we want to discuss our involvement in the upcoming city council event that is taking place.
Did you all decide and remind me? Are you? Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, if we were discussing our involvement in the upcoming city council meeting, I will not be there. That is during Thanksgiving break. I will not be in town.
That's November 20th that you're referring to, correct?
Yes,
you all
correct.
You don't have to go on that day. You can wait until a December meeting.
Yeah, I was figuring we wait till December because that is I have practice presentations for a consulting project, so I won't be able to attend that day either.
So either Ms. Tabitha or Dr. Christian could follow up with the December City Council meeting dates via email with you all, and then you can go from there. And then also that'll give the staff time to follow up with the Youth Council so that you all can coordinate those dates.
Will we still be able to attend that one? If we attend that one, will we have to attend in December? Or
well, we kind of wanted you to go as a group, if at all possible, okay. But I don't want to tell you not to attend, because if you want to attend, feel free. That would be awesome. But okay. We want you to attend with the group too.
Okay, I'll attend with the group.
Okay.
And just as a point of clarification, Ms. Tabitha will send that information out to you guys. The December information regarding the council meetings. All right.
Was that it, Madam Chair?
Yes, that is all on the agenda for today.
I think there was just a message in the chat from Jeremiah. I saw some briefly. Who do we send the newsletter to?
We send our newsletter information to Nathan, I believe. Correct?
Right. Right.
And Miss Tabitha is going to give us each other's contact information so that we'd be able to send it to him by next Tuesday.
Yes.
Okay, Madam Chair, if you're ready to adjourn, you can adjourn the meeting or entertain questions, whatever you all prefer.
If there are, before I adjourn, are there any remaining questions that anyone needs answered before we leave the meeting? No? Okay, well, now that nobody has anything else to add, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Great job, everyone.
Great job. See you shortly.